Hello, and welcome to day 2 of e-learning. So yesterday, we kind of watched a video on solving rational equations, where we had an equation that was equal to something and we were solving for x. Today, what we're going to have is we're going to have a system of equations, which means that we have two equations, and we are going to start by graphing both of those equations to find where they intersect. So on your laptops, you do have graphing calculators on there. So you can go ahead and open that up. And if you go into your graph, all right, we can go ahead and enter in this first equation on target 8C, which is our y is equal to negative 1/3 x squared plus x plus 16 over 3. And you can go ahead and graph that. All right, now we can see that that one is a downward facing parabola. All right, and what we're going to do now is we're going to graph the second equation in that system of equations and then find where they intersect. So I'm going to click this tab button, and now I can enter in my 3x over, and then I'm going to put this x minus 1 in parentheses. X minus 1. And then I can enter. You can see that that one is kind of a little bit of a funkier graph. All right, and you can see that it intersects in 3 different points. One right here, here, and here. And now to find those, we can click Menu, Analyze Graph, and then we want the intersection. Now, once you get this dotted line, we have to select a point to the left of the intersection and then a point to the right of the intersection. So we can see that one of our points of intersection between the system of equation, or one of the solutions, would be the point -2, 2. Then we can go ahead and repeat this process, select to the left and to the right to find my second solution, which would be the point 2, 6. And one more time, analyze graph, intersection, to find my third solution, which would be the point 4, 4. So we can go ahead and write those down on our paper now. And then very similarly for example B here, let's go ahead and get a new document. So I'm just going to back out of that, go into graphs again, and now I have just a new one. And now I will plot both of these equations. So we have x to the second plus, I'm going to do this one, whoops, make sure you go down. I'm going to do this 1/2 in parentheses. You could also do 0.5 x and then minus 2. Make sure that I got that addition sign in there. That should be good. Then again, just hit tab to get another equation in there. All right, and for our next equation, let's put this numerator in parentheses. So we have x squared minus x minus 2 over, and then let's put that x minus 2 in parentheses as well. Enter, and now we can see it has 2 points of intersection, or 2 solutions. So again, we want to go Menu, Analyze Graph, Intersection, to find my first point of intersection, which is going to be -1.5, -0.5, and then same thing, Analyze Graph, Intersection is going to be that 0.23. So those would be our 2 solutions for that one. And then you can just go ahead and write down those 2 solutions on your packet. And then we'll turn and we'll look at example number 2. However, in example number 2, we're not going to be using our calculator to find these points of intersection or these solutions. Instead, we're going to be doing it algebraically. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at example 2a here. We have what's called a system of equations or two equations, and we are going to try to solve these algebraically now. So we have some steps that we have to do to solve this. So that first step is going to be that we want them both equal to y. So we're going to solve for y, which in this case, they're both already equal to y, so we don't have to worry about that. Step number 2 is we're going to set those equations equal to one another because they're both equal to the same thing, which in this case is y. So set equal to one another. All right, then step 3, we can solve. So when I set them equal to one another, I have a 4 over x is equal to that x plus 3. But x plus 3 we know is really over 1. And now it looks like one of our problems from yesterday where we just want them to have a common denominator. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to multiply this fraction by x, because now I will have a common denominator in both of my fractions of x. But don't forget we have to distribute this x to both of these terms. So I have x squared plus 3x. Now, they're equal to the exact same denominator, so we can cancel that out, and we're left with 4 is equal to x squared plus 3x. Let's set this equal to 0, so I'm just going to subtract 4 from both sides. So I have 0 is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 4. And now, since it's equal to 0, we can go ahead and factor. Now remember, when we go to factor this, we draw our x. We want to multiply to that first term, which is a 1 times that negative 4. So we're multiplying to negative 4, adding to that middle term, which is 3. So we should get a positive 4 and a negative 1. So we would have x plus 4, x minus 1 is equal to 0. And now we can set both of these equal to 0. So x plus 4 is equal to 0, and x minus 1 is equal to 0. Subtract 4 from both sides. X is equal to negative 4. Add 1 to both sides. X is equal to 1. And then your last step in this one is just to plug both of these solutions back into either equation. Then that will tell us our y value. So personally, I think that this x plus 3 equation is easier. So when I come down here to my solutions, negative 4, I can just plug that into negative 4 for x plus 3 would give me that your y value is equal to negative 1. So I would have the point negative 4, negative 1. And then here, remember, it was the equation x plus 3. So I'd have 1 plus 3, which would give me that y is equal to 4. So my solution would be the point 1, 4. And then these would be our two solutions that we found for this system of equations, doing it algebraically this time. All right, let's try one more example for today. So let's do letter B. Notice that both of these are already set equal to y, so we don't have to worry about that step 1, but let's set them both equal to one another. So this would be 9 over x is equal to 4x x, and this would still be over 1. So again, for my common denominator, I'm just going to multiply both my numerator and denominator on this side by an x. So this will still be 9 over x, but now I have x times 1, which gives me a common denominator of x, and x times 4x would give me a 4x squared. Now that those denominators are the same, we can kind of cancel those out. So I end up with 9 is equal to 4x squared. Then we can divide each side by 4 because we're trying to get that x by itself. And I'm going to kind of flip our equation around so that I get just x squared, because these 4's cancel, is equal to 9 over 4. And then we can square root both sides because this square root will cancel out that squared. So I get x is equal to the square root of 9 over 4. Now, one very important thing to keep in mind when you do this square root is this answer actually has both a positive and negative solution. So you have to put that in, positive and negative square root of 9 over 4. So now when we go ahead and solve this, well, the square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 4 is 2. So my solution is going to be x is equal to positive 3/2 and x is equal to negative 3/2. And now I have to take both of those solutions and plug it into one of these equations, which to me, I think this 4 times x is a little bit easier. So I'm going to use that y is equal to 4 times x. So remember, we have x is equal to a positive 3 over 2. So then I would just do 4 times that positive 3 over 2. 4 times 3 over 2, if you plug that into your calculator, should give you 6 as your y value. So then my first solution would be the point 3 over 2 comma 6. But we also have x is equal to a negative 3 over 2. So when I plug that in, I get 4 times negative 3 over 2, which should give you a negative 6. So then my other solution would be negative 3 over 2, comma negative 6. And that would be how we could solve these systems of equations algebraically. All right, so that is it for our notes for today. And now I'm just going to have you practice a couple of these on your Delta Math. So awesome job, everybody, getting in your assignment yesterday. It's going to follow a pretty similar pattern here, at least for the next couple of days, and then we'll kind of mix it up. If you have any questions, I will be on again for video conferencing from 12 to 1. So you can jump on there and ask me any questions that you have. All right, keep it up, guys. Stay healthy. Wash your hands.